Hello, I'm Fedora Gamer, and I have a very special episode of Kickin' It for you guys today. Today, rather than looking at a game that is on Kickstarter, we will be interviewing TeamTripleSlash, the developers of Magnetic by Nature, a game that just recently got funded on Kickstarter. Well, let's go ahead and introduce my guests today. We have Kyle. Kyle, can you tell the folks who you are and what you do on TeamTripleSlash?
Yep. Hey, I'm Kyle Chittenden. I am the team lead on Magnetic by Nature.
And then we have Andrew Jones as well. Andrew, what do you do?
Hey, I'm one of the software engineers on TripleSlash Studios working on Magnetic by Nature.
And Corey.
I'm Corey Haltoner. I have handled a couple responsibilities. I do tech art and assist in art and design.
Alrighty, and for anyone that doesn't know what Magnetic by Nature is, you should check out my video a while ago about it. I'll have an annotation on this video to check it out so you know what we're talking about. But can you guys go ahead and tell me who's the rest of the team that isn't joining us on this call today?
Yeah, so we have Becky Pennock. She is our art lead. We have Brendan Wallenless. He is our engineering lead. We have Diana No, and she is our environmental animator. We have David Hurst. He's our composer/programmer. Jonathan Humphreys, he is one of our other artists. Evan Monroe, he's one of our environmental artists. Paige Ashland, he is an engineer as well. And I'm missing one, aren't I?
I think that's everybody.
Oh, is that everybody?
That's a
Did you
rather
name
large
Evan?
team for Indie.
Yeah. We have 10 people. Who did I miss? Did I miss someone?
6 artists,
so
4 programmers.
Right, 6 artists, 4 programmers. I would feel so bad if I missed someone.
I think that's everybody.
I think that's it, yeah.
That's a pretty large team for indie development. And most of the time I talk to 1 to 3 person teams. So you guys have a pretty good sized team. Where did you all meet? How did Team TripleSlash start?
We're all students at the University of Utah, so that's where we were able to meet up and form our team there. It kind of started as a student project, and then we kind of took it from there and made it bigger.
You see a lot of that on Kickstarter, the student projects being hopefully being made out into fully realized games. So that's a pretty common thing, actually. One of those members of your team, I believe Diane, on the same day that the Magnetic by Nature Kickstarter got funded, was her 21st birthday. Was that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
That must have been a pretty awesome day.
It was a fun day for her, I'm sure.
How did the name Team TripleSlash come to be?
Right.
Well, we all had our ideas on what we should name it. We came up with 4 or 5 ideas each and kind of threw them into a hat. Some of them were pretty easy to eliminate as, not that great idea. So we chipped it down and eventually it came down to about 4 or 5 names that were all pretty good. We had a final vote, and TripleSlash Studios came out on top.
Is it no deeper meaning other than something that sounded cool, pretty much?
Well, it actually does have a deeper meaning. In programming, you can use 3 slashes to put in comments, basically. Well, not comments, but to document your code.
Oh, right. I see. I think it has a nice ring to it. It rolls off the tongue well. But anyway, the purpose of this interview is to talk about the team behind Magnetic by Nature, the game, and of course this series is about Kickstarter, so we'll get into some Kickstarter questions right away. What made you guys decide to go to Kickstarter, to put Magnetic by Nature up on Kickstarter?
It's something we've always wanted to do. Because our game got incredibly good feedback, we took our game to GDC and got really strong feedback, and throughout our community, it's garnered some pretty good feedback as well. So we knew it was a good idea that we wanted to push further outside of school. But we don't have that much funds to develop a game. We're all senior students, or we're senior students. So we needed a little bit more funding to actually get a bigger and better release out the door, get the software licensing that we needed, and that's kind of where we came up with Kickstarter. And we're like, you know what, we should go for this and see if we can get the community involved with this even more.
I'm glad you guys did, otherwise I probably would have never heard of the game.
I think even plus, in addition to that, it was a good way to get some publicity for the game and get some more recognition for it. It was just another platform that we could get our name out there.
Exactly. That's the one thing that sets Kickstarter apart from other crowdfunding is it is publicity in itself just being on Kickstarter because it's such a known and used website. You know, and it nothing against Indiegogo, but Kickstarter has the advantage over them on that aspect. So you guys are still students, and so you're not full-time developers, clearly?
Half of us are still students, half of us are graduated and working other jobs. But yeah, so we're all half and halves, basically.
That had to be pretty busy for that during the Kickstarter, working, and some of you working, some of you in school, and trying to maintain a Kickstarter campaign.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
A lot of work.
I've actually been working a full-time job as a programmer for about 7 years. I'm just kind of finishing up college, so I was doing full-time work plus working on the game full-time, basically, plus the other classes.
So are you sick of seeing code? Is that what you're saying?
No, not that. I guess I'm a sadist because I still love it. I love the crap out of our game and programming, finding new creative ways to do something, optimizing. All that stuff is a lot of fun for me.
See, that's the secret to true happiness, is loving what you do.
Yep, sure.
Definitely is.
So how would you guys describe your experience with Kickstarter?
I thought it was a very positive experience. We, like Corey said, we got a lot of buzz from it. More people saw our game. More people, a lot of people contacted us, messaging us about, oh, can we help on the game? Or if not that, like, oh, I think you guys should try this, or helping us with concepts, asking us what platforms it's going to be released on other than PC, Mac, and Linux. Like, oh, can it come to the Vita? That would be awesome. Or the Wii U, or... It was really awesome getting all this community feedback for our game, like more so than just our local community. Yeah,
I think that was probably the best experience for me too, is to get our name out there, to get more community involvement and really get the community involved in our game and giving us more feedback instead of just having like our friends playing it. We actually had people around the globe messaging us and giving us feedback and contacting us about it.
That's one thing I like a lot about Kickstarter is there is a lot of community involvement, and most developers on Kickstarter are very open to feedback and suggestions. So that's what gives Kickstarter that magic feel, is because not only are you backing a game financially, but you can also help shape it as long as you're not putting out stupid ideas to the developers, that is. But you see a lot of that in Kickstarter, where the developer will openly ask for feedback and suggestions. So it's a closer relationship to your community that way, very much so. And you don't have the like AAA games; they're nameless, faceless corporations,
Right.
I think people feel like they have an actual say when you're talking to an indie studio, because when you're dealing with 10 people, it's a lot easier to make grassroots changes than it is if you're working on this multi-million-dollar project with hundreds of programmers, hundreds of artists.
Yes, very much so. And I'm not saying it is in a bad way towards true AAA studios. It's just the nature of the beast. There's no real way they could have any meaningful contact with their huge fan base. They're mostly a bunch of morons sometimes, So depending on the game and the game genre, we'll just say that.
Definitely, yeah. I love AAA games as much as the next gamer. It's just a completely different thing when you're talking about indie games, I think.
Yeah, it's a whole nother animal, that's for sure. So your Kickstarter experience, was it mostly fun and exciting, or was there a lot of pressure and stress involved during your campaign?
It was
Wait, Kyle.
It was definitely really stressful, but well worth it. When people do Kickstarter, or when people see Kickstarters, I'm not sure if a lot of them know how much time and effort it goes into it. Like me and Paige, we're kind of leading the Kickstarter, and everybody on the whole team helped out, of course. But yeah, Paige and I were always up really late into the morning, just doing updates to the site, press releases towards indie sites and bigger blogs such as like Kotaku and Joystick. And just like sending out as many of these press releases as we could about our Kickstarter, keeping on updating the update posts for Kickstarter, messaging back everybody who's messaged us, just keeping like everything organized and managing everything correctly. And it was incredibly time consuming, but it was so worth it in the end. Like you said in the beginning, we got funded. Our game got a lot of buzz through the indie community. Even got a post up on on Kotaku. It was great. In the end, it was so worth it.
I do know for a fact that Kyle was up very late at night some nights. So I was emailing him, and he was emailing me back. I was like, we should both be asleep probably, but you know.
I had that same experience with Kyle. Send him an email like 3 a.m. and I get an instant response.
Exactly.
He's good at that.
Corey's basically an insomniac. So
apparently we all are.
His working on the game is like in 4 a.m.
That's when I do my best work. You know?
Mountain Dew fueled programming, right?
Right.
Sure.
And yeah, on top of that, Andrew has taken some incredibly like all-nighters with us, programming, making sure all the bugs are fixed and tweaked out, and you know.
Yeah, you don't try to start up an indie studio if you're not passionate. That's an absolute key, because let's face it, you're not going to be profitable your first year. It's just not going to happen.
Exactly.
You've got to have the drive and the passion to keep going, even though it's challenging. You're not getting much sleep. That's important.
Yeah.
The moral of this story is, anyone listening thinking about doing a Kickstarter, don't expect to sleep while it's going.
No.
I've heard that from several devs that starting a Kickstarter, you get thrown into a world that you weren't expecting, where all of a sudden you're marketing, you're a marketer, all of you are marketers for the duration of the Kickstarter. Was that pretty much what it was like?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just promoting the crap out of it.
Yep. Yeah. And it's always trying to find that fine line between trying to get coverage and not spamming people, you know?
There's a very fine line there.
Comment on how many Facebook posts I was having saying, "Oh, there's another piece of spam from Andrew." You just gotta find that fine line and walk it, because you're going to be out there for your 30 days straight, pushing it as hard as you can.
Yeah, you're no longer developers; you're internet marketers for that duration, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I've heard that from several Kickstarter developers, actually. Did anyone on the team have previous public relations or marketing experience before the Kickstarter?
Not that I know of. No.
Not really.
So a crash course, pretty much, is what it was.
It was a very
we learned quick, yeah.
Yeah.
But it worked out in the end, so that's all that really matters.
Yes, that's correct.
I think I lost more sleep, though, just watching the number and keeping track of how much money we made each day and stressing my mind out about it.
Calculating exactly how much you're making per day, how many days are left, kind of thing.
Right.
Yep. Exactly, especially like the last 10 days. I'm like, all right, we need this much each day. It's very stressful.
I'm sure I was sweating watching it. I was a little worried for a while myself.
We were fortunate. At GDC, we met this guy named Curtis Constantine, and with him Ragnar Thornquist and Raquel Johnson. They're part of Red Thread Games, which created Dreamfall chapters. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know about that Kickstarter, but it's the sequel to The Longest Journey. And we got...
Sounds familiar.
Apparently my audio went out. Yeah, anyway. So we got Curtis Constantine's help on our Kickstarter. He actually was lucky enough to be based in Salt Lake City. So we asked for his advice on our Kickstarter. He gave us all his advice in the beginning, and then from there we just followed exactly what he told us, and things came out for the better. So we were very fortunate to actually run into them at GDC.
Definitely.
What did you learn from your Kickstarter campaign during your time with Kickstarter? Any valuable lessons you learned?
I would say that establishing hype for your product is incredibly difficult if you're coming out of the blue. It's going to be an uphill battle for you because you don't have anything to base it off of. If you're putting out your video and you're saying, hey, some people think this is really good, but for the most part, it's kind of a word of mouth system.
Very much so.
I would definitely say that you're. Well, what would you say, Kyle? Advice for people who might want to start up a Kickstarter?
Advice is, if it's your first project, don't go too high on your price. Probably you kind of have to, from my standpoint, you have to kind of be sure that you're going to get half of your profits. Like, you're positive you're going to get at least half of your goal from at least people or people you could share this with. And from there, you're at a good standpoint. Another really good piece of advice that we heard from Curtis is that you really have to get a big push in the beginning. You have to jumpstart your Kickstarter. Because if you're a week in and you are 10% of your goal, people might not even look at your project because they're going to be like, oh, well, that project might not be that great because it only has, 10% of what it's trying to get out of 30 days, and it's already 7 days in. So you really have to jump to start your Kickstarter in the very beginning and get a lot of buzz in the very beginning so that people can, donate to your game and make a big push then.
That is very good advice. I see that a lot, actually. I now you mention it, I kind of notice myself thinking that way as well. If I see a Kickstarter is half over and not even at 25% of its goal, I'm likely just to overlook it. When you see a Kickstarter that's almost funded or overfunded, then you get a little more excited about it. So that is very good advice.
Do you guys have any advice, Corey?
I think something else that's really important is make sure that you have a really sweet looking thumbnail. It's like when I'm looking through Kickstarter, I want to see a cool name and I want to see a cool piece of art that draws my eye. And the video too is especially important. You need something that's short and to the point because people don't want to watch like a 30-minute video with very little information in it.
Right.
The thumbnail, very good point. That is what caught my attention to Magnetic by Nature originally. I love the art style. And when I saw the icon which is also like the poster image you guys were showing off as well, I believe is the same as the icon. I was like, what is this? It looks amazing. I have to see this. I didn't even know I liked that art style until I saw it, was the funny thing.
Yeah, it's very 1920s. Art Deco.
Yeah,
style.
I didn't even know the name of that art style until I saw Magnetic by Nature.
Right.
Did you guys go to any events during your Kickstarter campaign? Any conventions at expos and such while the Kickstarter was running?
We did attend a local one in Salt Lake called Salt Fest.
I heard from several other developers who went to that, actually.
Was it their first year? Do you know, Kyle?
It was Salt Fest's first year, yeah.
Yeah, so it was more of kind of a gaming competition rather than a lot of developers showing off their games, but it was still a really good opportunity for us. We took a whole bunch of business cards and we made a lot of good contacts, and we set up our game, and we actually were able to get onto Kotaku through a contact that we made at Salt Fest. So that was probably the big one for us that was most profitable.
Making those connections face-to-face means a lot in the industry.
Yeah.
I've never been to any sort of events. I'd hope to someday, but you guys did say you were at GDC, but this was before your Kickstarter campaign started, right?
Right.
How was GDC? I hear it's pretty amazing.
It was a great experience. This was the first year I've ever been able to go, and it wasn't quite what I expected, but I definitely encourage anybody interested in going into game development or artists or anybody that's interested in that side of games, really. Go at least once, because you'll meet great people. The event itself is amazing. You get to see all these big companies out there, schools. If you're a student who's looking to go into a game degree type thing, go there, meet up with people, talk to the people who are head of the programs, and get to know where you're going before you commit to anything. I think it's well worth the cost of entry.
And if you do go, be sure to hit up the after parties, because you get a lot of context through GDC, and the expo itself is amazing. But really, the after parties is where you network with developers and really push for getting more contacts.
Anything to add, Corey?
Is Corey offline? I see an offline button.
I see that as well. Corey didn't get to go to GDC, so I imagine he
wouldn't have much to say. Well, hopefully we'll get Corey back in here in a little bit. Thank you, Skype. But we'll just continue on. If you could do one thing differently.
All right, Corey, are you back?
Yeah, sorry, I dropped out there for a sec.
Okay. Oh, that's all right.
I'm good.
You're only missing for a few seconds that we knew, so. If you guys could do one thing differently, looking back at your Kickstarter campaign, or just Magnetic by Nature in general, what would it be?
For the Kickstarter, I think we would want to, prepare the updates days before in advance, or at least not the updates, at least the press releases. We were kind of writing the press releases on the spot, writing them to a variety of companies, being very personal with them. But yeah, I guess it would be best to really study every company that you're going to send a press release to, and definitely tailor it to that company and study them for like weeks, and then write a press release and send it off before your Kickstarter or on the day of your Kickstarter launching, instead of doing it, during that time. I think being a little bit more prepared on our Kickstarter would have been nice.
I would say the one thing I would do differently about our Kickstarter is I would really focus on our biography. Ours were kind of thrown together sitting at the bottom because we assumed nobody really cared about those. But since then, I've started really looking at Kickstarters that do well. And one thing I've noticed is that they're really not that bashful about talking about any experience they have whatsoever, to the point of, I've been gaming for 20 years, I've been gaming for this many years. Really, you're not only selling the project, you're selling your team and your ability to finish that project.
Very good point. Corey, how about you?
I agree with Andrew. I think when you're going to do a Kickstarter, it's really important to learn how to sell yourself, because these people are giving their personal money to you, and they need to have faith in you and your ability to do this project, because they don't want to just throw money at you, and they want to feel like they're a part of something, but they also want to make sure that that something is going to get finished.
Exactly. All very good advice. Any indie devs out there listening to this is great advice. Listen to these guys. They've been through the trenches already. If you're planning to start Kickstarter, these guys have been through that war. So, very good advice. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the game itself. First off, art style. Oh my god, I love the art style. I've made no secret that I love the art style so much. I don't know why, but I do. Who was responsible for coming up with the art style?
I think it was an artist thing in general. Becky spearheaded.
You have several artists, so yeah.
Yeah. Becky spearheaded the movement. Becky and Evan a little bit too spearheaded the Art Deco movement. But really, it was a collaboration through all artists to go with the style. After our alpha, one day we didn't have a consistent style in our alpha build of our game, and then we all kind of brought it back to the computers and said, okay, so we need one cohesive style that kind of merges everything that we love about this game, that we love visually about this game, and put it all into one kind of theme. And I think that's where Art Deco came in. Corey, you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I think our art lead, Becky, she kind of pointed us in the direction of Art Deco, and we actually picked the Chrysler building for inspiration for shape design and things like that. If you look at the interior of that building, you'll see a lot of our shapes we got from there. But we have kind of a problem in our beginning, and that's one advice I would give to other gamers, is really set your direction in the beginning, and then you'll throw away less stuff and waste less time. But we ended up meeting as artists, and we iterated and iterated a lot, and we kind of sat down with different assets, and we worked on them together as a group, and we talked about what things fit style, what we like, what doesn't fit style, and why it doesn't fit style. And it took us a little while to get all our artists on board for the art style, but once we did, it was really beneficial.
Becky and the rest of your artists are amazing. I love you guys, seriously. I that's what really caught my eye on Magnetic by Nature was just the clean Art Deco style. I love it. I don't know why. I just love it.
It's a very crisp feel.
Kyle, you're talking a little bit about the alpha. Not there wasn't any cohesive art style back then. How alpha are you talking? I remember your Kickstarter video showed a very short clip of very, very alpha that was the dancing banana guy and Magnetic bucket. That actually made me laugh.
That was the prototype.
That was prototype.
Yeah, that was after 4 weeks of there. We went into teams of 4. Our whole team wasn't even on the team yet. I wasn't even on the team yet. But there were 2 programmers and 2 artists that worked on that prototype, and that's what kind of. Well, they pitched that prototype to a board of industry professionals, and the professionals kind of greenlit 3 games, and because of that prototype, Magnetic by Nature was formed. But when I'm talking about alpha, I'm talking about December-ish. Like the game somewhat looks the same, but it definitely does not play the same. That's for sure.
The little banana dude zipping around with no animation, I found hilarious. I would have played that still, actually. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Magnetic by Nature is there's a version of it already out on Xbox Live Indie Games. Was it Awakening, I believe? Was that the name of it?
Yeah, Magnetic by Nature Awakening.
Magnetic by Nature Awakening.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is, how you describe it, a condensed version of what you want the full-out game to be. But how's the performance been for that on Xbox Live Indie Games? Has it been rather successful for you guys?
Andrew?
Who wants to feel that?
Andrew, you want to talk about
that? Could you ask that again? I'm sorry.
Okay.
What's the performance been for on Xbox Live Indie Games? Has it been rather successful on there? I know it's gotten pretty good reviews from like Indie Gamer Chick.
It's been pretty successful as indie games go, and especially student games. Comparing it against other previous titles that came out of the EAE program there at the University of Utah, we're doing about as well as we expected to. I'm not quite sure what else to discuss.
Well, I have heard things that Xbox Live Indie Games isn't very good for discovery and promoting games at all. It's very hard to find anything and be found on it, so I was wondering how much that rang true.
That's kind of what I would talk about. Is what I found was kind of disappointing is I thought we had this really awesome, unique idea, unique art style, and our sales really haven't been that great. But you contrast that with our reviews, which have been awesome. And what I've kind of seen in the indie market is what they want is either Avatar games or Minecraft ripoffs. And since we are neither of those, the sales maybe haven't been quite where we'd like them to be. But I think that's okay. Our reviews have been awesome, and the people that do discover our game really like it, and that's what's important to me.
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of good stories from Xbox Live Indie Games. It was a great concept, but I don't think it was executed by Microsoft the greatest. But I guess we probably shouldn't derail into that too much. I could probably go on that for days.
Right. I think Microsoft did. They took a big step forward by even allowing indies onto their market. So kudos to them for that. They opened the gates to this current generation where the big push seems to be more open, more accessible for indies. Nintendo's pushing that direction. Sony's pushing that direction. We haven't really heard much about Microsoft's direction with this next generation.
I have. It's not good.
Well, there's rumors.
I'm taking a lot of it with a grain of salt because I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, basically, because they established this market with Xbox Live Indie. I am skeptical that they would just kill it with one fell swoop. I'm hoping that they're smarter than that. I'm hoping that they're really seeing the the trend here is toward indie. That's where a lot of innovation happens because indies can afford to take risks that big studios can't. And I'm hoping that they have something in store for us. I guess we'll have to wait till E3 to find out for sure.
Yeah,
Good
or
point.
even,
It's still
later
early.
on in the future.
Yeah, I won't pass judgment yet. You still got time to do good by us, Microsoft. You still have time. How many levels are planned for the full-out game?
Well, currently we have 36 levels in the condensed version of our game. We're trying to at least, I believe, double it, and on top of that, add Great Depression levels and challenge levels. Great Depression levels being incredibly difficult levels, and challenge levels being more Angry Bird style levels where you get ranked on how well you complete a certain objective, such as launch yourself by a single magnet and how far you can do it. You get ranked bronze, silver, or gold. So with all that content, it should be an extremely bigger game than it was on the Xbox. Maybe not necessarily. Well, levels wise and content wise, it should be incredibly bigger.
That sounds good. I like more variety. As much as I like the levels I had played, being a little bit of variety with the Great Depression and the challenges is always a good thing to see in games.
Mm-hmm.
Who is doing or has done the music for the finished game? Who will be doing the music for that?
So the finished game. So our composer David Hurst has been doing the music, and he did the music for the Xbox version. And for the PC release finished game, we actually picked up an Emmy Award winner. His name is Lance Montgomery. And he will be collaborating with David Hurst on the soundtrack to the final PC version of the game.
That's pretty cool. I'm sure David Hurst is pretty excited to be working with somebody of that caliber.
Excited. Yeah, so I'm really hoping that they kind of learn off of each other and kind of bounce ideas off of each other, because both their music styles are incredible, and I'm very excited to see what comes out of both of them.
I really liked the music in the press demo you guys sent me, so I'm looking forward to the finished product with an Emmy Award winner thrown in there. So, what platforms is Magnetic by Nature going to be released on?
So we're definitely set to release on Windows, Mac OS X, and Linux. Those are the three platforms that we absolutely have set in stone. We're in talks with a number of other parties to try to get Magnetic by Nature on as many platforms as possible. We can't really discuss them at this time, but we hope that we can make an announcement in the near future about those.
All right, well, at least three there are set in stone, the main three, PC being the one I care the most about, clearly, so I only actually cover PC games. And what are you doing for distribution? Are you looking for Steam?
Currently, we're in the talks with a distributor. We are looking towards Steam too. We also have some other contacts and some other distributions. Nothing set in stone yet, but hopefully that'll come to fruition within the next few weeks or months. So.
And we lost Corey again, unfortunately. But I assume he'll be
Thanks,
back.
Andrew.
Yeah, Corey had to take off. Got
Yeah.
some other plans for this evening.
All right, well, Corey, when you watched this video, thank you very much for joining us. That's fine, we all have full-time jobs and stuff in real life. So is the plan, the Steam plan, is it for Greenlight? Is that the plan?
That's the plan, yeah.
Any idea when you'll start the Greenlight campaign? Because you can start way before the game's released trying to get greenlit. So
We want to get a concepts page up as soon as possible. Concepts page it's similar to the front page on Kickstarter, but without the ability for people to actually purchase the game.
Yep.
They can go on there, watch the trailers, look at screenshots. We can post updates to it.
And they can vote, being the important part.
Right. I don't believe the concepts have a vote button.
I believe
it's
they
more a
do.
way
I
for-
voted on plenty of games that were way, way ahead, way down the line kind of thing. So I believe you can start getting votes on it very, very early.
So yeah, we want to put it on the concept page, and then before our game is at least about the time when our game is released, we will put it on the actual greenlight page so that we can start garnering votes for positive yeses, and hopefully people will greenlight us, and hopefully we can get on Steam. That'd be amazing.
I hope so.
The reasons for us waiting on that a little bit are we want to make sure that we put our forward. We want to get as many upvotes as we can, and to that end, we really want to hammer out a lot of the rough edges that we've got going right now, and get as much functionality in place before we even put it up there, so that we don't get too many downvotes.
Yeah.
Greenlight can be pretty brutal, and it's not a very great system. I'll say that outright. It's better than nothing, though. So,
right.
Once they have a Greenlight page up, I will have a link to it in the description of this video, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
And during the development of Magnetic by Nature, going ahead, you guys have any plans to attend future events, PAX, any next year's GDC, anything like that?
Yeah, so currently I emailed PAX. They're actually overbooked right now. That's PAX Prime. They're kind of overbooked right now, but they said if any space opens up, they'll let us know. We're going to try to go to PAX East, and we're going to GamerCon, which is right next to Comic-Con. So if anybody's at Comic-Con, I think it's like literally right next to Comic-Con. So yeah, we'll be over there showing off our game.
Comic-Con, where is that at? Are you talking about
San Diego?
San Diego, okay, the big one.
Yeah.
There's one in like Denver as well that I heard someone talking about the other day.
There's actually one in Salt Lake City too that just started up this year. Yeah. So, yeah. But the big one, up in San Diego.
I see. Yeah. And what is the expected release date of Magnetic by Nature? Very not in stone, just so everyone listening knows that. But do you have like a ballpark you could give the listeners?
We want to get it out there before the holiday season this year. That's our goal.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. That sounds great.
Does that sound right, Kyle?
That sounds about right, yeah.
Good. And even though the Kickstarter is over, how could people help Magnetic by Nature? Of course, once the green light is up, they can vote for that. But is there any way they could help you with the game and help help the game in general at this point?
Yeah, so you can help us by following us on Facebook, TripleSlash Studios, and you can follow us on Twitter, buy our game on Xbox and try it out. And if you guys like it, then just keep on supporting us, keep on following us, and spread the word about our game. That's the best way to support a developer, is by word of mouth and spreading the word, and just contacting everybody. Say, hey, look at this game. It's awesome. You should try it out. And once you do, follow their Facebook page, their Twitter, their Kickstarter, or any updates that they're doing. So that's my word of advice. If you want to help us out, just keep on following us. We're going to have some big things planned in the future, hopefully. So.
Okay, I'll have the links to their Facebook page and their Twitter in the description of this video, by the way. And that brings me to my last question. What is the future of TeamTripleSlash? Do you have any other projects in the works, at least mentally in the works, if not, actively being worked on yet?
We've got a lot of really cool concepts. We've got a great team together with good ideas that have been playing games forever. And because of that, we've got a lot of really cool concepts that we'd love to do. Next up, the next project for TripleSlash Studios will probably be a fairly small scale, possibly a mobile distribution, just something that we can get done while we're working on another larger project. We definitely want to build TripleSlash Studios up to a legitimate, a full, I don't want to say legitimate. We want to build TripleSlash Studios up to an indie studio that you might recognize.
A respectable indie studio, I think, would be a good term, right?
Respectable. There's a good word for it. Yes, thank you.
That sounds wonderful. Could you give any kind of hints on your plan for your next project? Just any teasers, a little bit?
It's still in the works, so not at the moment, no.
All right. I had to try. I had to give it a shot. Well, I think that's it for this interview today. I would like to thank you guys for joining me, Kyle and Andrew and Corey that bailed on us early. It was
well, thank you.
Fun. And check out Magnetic by Nature. I'll have all kinds of links to everything about Magnetic by Nature and TeamTripleSlash in the description of this video. And thank you a lot for joining me. Thank you for sending me the press demo of that game. It was amazing. I sucked at it, and everyone watching this video will probably see me really sucking at it in the background. But it is a great game with great art design.
You're fine. You know, it's a difficult game, but you know, at least you enjoyed it, and we're really glad that you enjoyed it and you had a good time with it.
I did.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, and I am very much looking forward to your future endeavors. This has been Fedora Gamer. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Say bye, guys.
Thank you. See you.
Thanks, everyone.